Centipede for the Game Boy Color. I actually there's actually a video that I scheduled to show up at 7 p.m. tomorrow Central Standard Time, and that's me playing Millipede from Arcade Classics 2. So if you like Centipede and Millipede from the arcade, definitely watch these videos that I'm going to be putting up, because it's going to be for the Game Boy and the Game Boy Color. I used to play both of those games a lot in the arcade. Centipede, I used to be able to flip. Millipede, not so much. The most that I maxed out at was 500,000. I think it was a few weeks ago, I ended up watching a video on YouTube. It was somebody that had the Millipede cabinet. They had the real arcade game in their own game room. You know, their man cave, so to speak. And I watched the guy, and he flipped the damn game. He rolled the score over at 1,000,000. I just couldn't believe this guy's reflexes, man. Even my reflexes weren't all that back in the day. I mean, that's crazy incredible. As you can tell, I'm still messing around with the graphics and all that for my videos. I'm just trying different things to see what looks right. I notice most of my people, I know most of the subscribers and non-subscribers, when they watch my videos, they watch it on their mobile phone. That's about 80% of the time. Next up after that would be the PC. So I hope this looks good on mobile. If it doesn't look good on mobile, leave a comment, let me know, and I'll make even more changes. I'll stretch it out a bit. I'll make changes. Let me just show you guys something. So Centipede for the Game Boy Color came out in November 30th, 1998 from Accolade. So I know Atari made it in the arcades, but Accolade they probably made it with permission from Atari for Centipede for the Game Boy Color. So I thought that was pretty cool. They're saying the review's bad. I played it a few times. It's for a handheld. You know what I mean? I mean, there's only so much you can do with a handheld. I'm not going to say it was bad. But it's considered a shooter. More importantly, it made it into the shmup area. Sorry, the shmup generation. So I thought that was cool. So Accolade were the developers of the game, but Gesto actually published it. And it's for the Centipede and Millipede franchise. And of course, in this game, you got your little pea shooter looking thing, and what you're trying to do is you're trying to shoot all the centipedes, whether it's a long centipede, a medium-sized one, a small one, or all heads. You're trying to blow away the mushrooms so the centipedes don't get down into your area too quick. And be careful of the spiders. More importantly, be careful of the fleas. You know, the fleas were the most pain in the butt in the arcade. At least in the arcade, you can have a certain number of mushrooms in your area, and it'll keep the fleas from coming down as quickly. But after a while, as your score goes up, they're going to constantly keep coming. No matter what, it's going to come a point. This is in the arcade, by the way. And in the arcade, no matter what, you're going to have to blow away all those mushrooms, fleas, spiders. You're going to have to get your reflexes really going. And usually that can start anywhere between 500 to 700,000. And if your reflexes are really good, you're going to flip the score. So I just wanted to give you some info about that, because that's the way it was for me back in the 80s. But I'm much older. We'll see how gameplay goes, and we'll see how I go. So there's nothing else there. All right. So before I get to playing Centipede for the Game Boy Color, here's a quick message about our Whatnot video game store. I'll be right back. Hope you all are enjoying the gameplay videos that I put up on YouTube. Just wanted to let you all know I have a video game store called Green Bay Entertainment through Whatnot, where I sell all kinds of video games and such. Use your phone to scan the QR code, and if it's your first time downloading the app, you will get a $15 credit off your first purchase using our code. We even have games under $15, so your first game could even be free. It supports us and allows us to give you more content like this. Thank you again, and on with the video. All right, let's go ahead and play. It's going to take a moment for it to load. All right. And as you can see, I got all kinds of ROMs. I have unlimited content. I could do gameplay for years. But there's going to be other stuff I want to do. I want to do retro gaming play through NetPlay, which allows you to play two players with people that are not in the same room as you. I'm definitely going to try that with my brother at some point, but we got to play with that. Should be just under Centipede, right? There we go. And it's Game Boy compatible, so I guess the cartridges were, I, maybe, I can't remember. Dang it, man. I can't remember whether you could play Game Boy Color cartridges and the Game Boy, vice versa. Not sure. I'll have to look that up and get back with you folks on it because I really don't know. But I'm just ready to have fun, man. For anybody wondering, my wife is home from the hospital. The cough is gonna last a while. She's still a bit weak. We'll see what happens. Let's go. Please will start coming down soon, I promise. I tried using the same strategy that I do in the arcade, but the fleas will come to me. They're going to constantly come. No matter how many mushrooms I play here. just sometimes don't get there. Damn it, man. I get frustrated because I know what I got to do, I can scream my head off, man. How much I got cleared. That's another reason to stay on the board sometimes. So you can sometimes get every single point out there. Going on, man? Like I wasn't on top of it. You know? I guess that's one of my move so fast, man. I can't get to the spot I need Damn me. A low scoring game. Oh, I was going down, baby. like I should be doing a lot better. In a while. None of this should be hard. shot up the whole mushroom. Oh, God, man. Last guy again. why I'm just not moving over. Like I'm expecting it to miss me or something. To the ground, man. Fudging, man. Fudge you, man. Damn it. Frustrating. Can't build the guys up, man. You gotta be able to last. Just realized that they're gonna come out So a little over 362,000 on Centipede. Man, oh man. Well, that's definitely the highest score that I've gotten. I've played it. This is my third time playing it. I never played it back in the day because I didn't have a Game Boy Color. I had stopped doing everything when I went in the military. The next thing I did was I had the PlayStation 1, and I finally realized the game I played. It was the one that came with it, Crash Bandicoot. Oh man. God, I'm too old. All right, so low tips and hints. If you go a little bit to the left, a little bit to the right, you'll go over one column. So if you're off by a column, just move the joystick a little bit to the left or right to get directly underneath that column, so you can get a bunch of. So that way you can fire quickly to get rid of the mushrooms that are in your way. The game starts out real slow. It gets to a medium speed, is what you're seeing, and I'm not seeing that it's getting any faster than that. the way the spiders are coming out, the way they jump, the way the fleas are coming out, the way the centipedes are coming out, nothing is surprising me. It's my reflexes. And when I see something, I need to react right away, and sometimes I don't react. And the one thing I like about this version of Centipede is even if they go down to the bottom, if you can get them right when they come back up to your gun, you can kill them and then still be able to get to the next level. So that part is cool. Just for some reason, I just keep messing up. I wish they would allow you 6 guys. The Centipede in the arcade allowed you 6 men. You couldn't have any in memory, but at least on the top you can see 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What do I see here? 1, 2, 3. I thought maybe I just wasn't playing long enough to get more guys. But then I realized that I hadn't heard the sound in quite a while, and I haven't died in quite a while. So that's one of the drawbacks. I like the fact that it's in color. You can also play this version of Centipede for the original Game Boy as well, but it's black and white. So you may not see the black and white version of Centipede on this channel. You're going to see the color version for the Game Boy Color, because the gameplay is exactly the same, except the Game Boy has black and white graphics, or gray, and the Game Boy Color has color graphics. And I'm a color man. I like to see graphics when I'm playing my games. Oh, what a game! I think I did well. All right, everybody. Well, hey, make sure you follow, like, subscribe, and share. Share somewhere down there. If you're going to subscribe, make sure you subscribe to all. That way, if I put up any polls, if I put up any updates, especially if I put up videos, I want to make sure you're getting all my updates. I don't have tons of updates every day, so you're not going to get plastered with stuff from me. It's just going to be once in a while, maybe once or twice a day, some days none. It all kind of evens out. All right. Well, hey, you all take care, and I'll see you all on the next one. Bye-bye for now.
Check out my socials on X, Facebook, and Instagram, and also check out our Whatnot account, Green Bay Entertainment.